Hey, John Stamos and Cologuard here. So look, you're 45 or older and at average risk. You know what? That probably means it's time for colon cancer screening. Look, it doesn't start at 55 or 50 or even 46. If you're 45, you've got to prioritize getting screened because if it's found early, it's highly treatable. So get going. See if Cologuard is the right test for you.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Spent about 10 minutes here with my friend from the Victims' Rights. He started it here in New York, Jennifer Harrison. And as Jen gets set to speak to you, she's always really great, very inspiring. Should all know these names. Richard Williams, I've mentioned him about 5 times already today. He's the 83-year-old veteran, pushed on the subway tracks, killed. He fought for our country. He was murdered here in New York by an illegal, you listening? Cory Booker, you jackass. Killed. His name is Richard Williams. You should know that name. Sheridan Gorman, 18-year-old, lovely Loyola student, university, shot in the back and murdered by an illegal. Cory Booker, you should know that name. Sheridan Gorman. Stephanie Minter. Laken Riley. I was thrown out of the State of the Union a couple of years ago when Joe Biden called her Lincoln Riley, who's a college football coach. And Rachel Morin, and so many others. Should all know those names, ladies and gentlemen. Your mayor, who everybody wants me to be nice to these days, that ain't going to happen. He was busy tweeting about the WNBA yesterday. Not a word yet, not a word about Richard Williams. Jen Harrison, take it away.
Oh, where do we even begin, Sid? I mean, you know, you guys are making jokes before I came on about people not getting ticketed because they're listening to your show, and, you know, you could commit rape if you're listening to your show. But the truth is, and I text you, that people aren't being prosecuted for raping anybody anyway under Alvin Bragg and Melinda Katz and Darcel Clark. I mean, you know, there was a trans illegal that raped a child in Alvin Bragg's jurisdiction, and he got off with a slap on the wrist. I did an article in New York Post the other day. So, I mean, people are getting away with murder and rape and all kinds of horrific crimes anyway. But, yeah, sure, the problem is that they're not getting tickets because they're listening to your show.
Right. And on top of that, this Mamdani, who, as I pointed out, has not said about Richard Williams, he wants to actually reduce the jail population. He is desperately trying, this is the New York Post yesterday, to let out the prisoners, which now 71%, Jen Harrison, of our prisoners here in New York, 71% have committed felonies, which include the most disgusting acts, rape, murder, and all this mayor does, all he wants, I should say, is to unload the prisons and put these people back in our population. But I should find a way in my heart to like this guy, right?
No, Sid. Nobody should. And you know, I mean, we've been warning about this for years. You know, these abolitionist politicians, really their goal is to destroy society as we know it. Why else would you want to release rapists and murderers and not prosecute people that rape children, you know, people here illegally who murder veterans on the subway, who light people on fire? I mean, it's insane. And now you're going to empty even more prisons. And this was the goal of bail reform. We warned about it since 2017, is that it's to empty prisons and to create chaos in the streets so that our society implodes as we know it. Cities are destroyed. But really what it comes down to is that lives are destroyed, Sid, because, you know, Richard Williams, he deserves to be alive right now. He fought for this country. His family deserves to be celebrating him, not mourning him. Laken Riley, Stephanie Minter, Sheridan Gorman. I mean, where does it end? I say, where do we begin? But where does it end? Have we had enough yet?
Clearly we haven't, because we're not even talking about it. I mean, good luck. I mean, I covered the Stephanie Gorman case, obviously, I had a nice conversation with Tom Holman yesterday. Fox News did it, but you're not going to see it anyplace else. Do you think CNN or MSNB or MS Now and these other networks are talking about Stephanie Gorman or taking Brandon Johnson, another disgusting mayor like we've got, or J.B. Pritzker, another disgusting governor like we've got? You think they're taking them to task, Jen? You know the answer.
No, they're not. And you know what, Sid? I'm trying. I really hope that we're going to have to force them. We're on our way to forcing them to paying attention. I went to Virginia the other day, and I stood in front of Abigail Spanberger's office and the governor's.
She's another one, by the way. She's another disgraceful governor in this country. Another one.
Soros funded, by the way, too. Soros funded prosecutor and Soros funded governor in Fairfax, Virginia. But I want to let everybody know that accountability is coming. The Victims' Rights Reform Council is working with attorneys to file complaints. Actually, we announced it on your show, and Leo Terrell told us to file the complaints on your show. So we're going to be filing complaints with the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ, seeking investigations into the policies, practices, decision makers, and nonprofits that are promoting these decisions that are responsible for this preventable bloodshed.
And by the way, as you know, Leo Terrell's boss at the DOJ, Leo's a great guy, is Harmeet Dillon, who works side by side with the criminal division head, Pam Bondi. And Harmeet was just on this show on Friday, and she is equally as enthusiastic to help you, Jen Harrison, as Leo Terrell is.
Well, that's encouraging. We have the lawyers that we're working with are very close and have relationships with Harmeet. So we hope that we're going to gain some traction and get the accountability that the American people deserve. And it's become crystal clear that nobody else is going to stand up and fight for this. So since the system refuses to hold these people accountable, victims will, Sid, and we're going to.
God bless you.
We're going after every policy. We're going after every official who enables this. And I don't know if people are aware, but there's a court system that incentivizes these decisions. There's an equity training manual that actually goes out to judges that incentivizes them to release violent repeat offenders. So we're going to get to the bottom and the nitty gritty of everything that's happening here.
I say that again now. Where is this court? Is it in D.C.? Where is this court?
It's New York, California.
Jesus.
Everywhere. Blue states and blue cities that have soft on crime, Soros-funded prosecutors, and abolitionist politicians. And there's George Soros is not the only person that's funding this. China's funding it. They want to see our society collapse. So we're going to expose everybody.
Yeah, and especially when you see, like the mayor, for example, he was backed by the Muslim Brotherhood. I've asked Marco Rubio on this show and in private. I've asked President Trump in private to please designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, which they said they're going to do, but they're going to leave out the chapters in Turkey and Qatar. I said, no, you can't leave those two out. They're probably the worst ones. And CARE. And wouldn't you know, Jennifer Harrison, not once, not twice, not three times, but 4 times now, CARE has sent letters, because I've been critical of the mayor, CARE has sent letters to John Catsimatidis to fire me. And these are the same groups, along with Soros, that finance some of the worst disasters around our country. You know that.
Yeah, I know. And, what's sad, I mean, we're talking about the bloodshed of innocent Americans here. Said, daughters, and what's happening across the country could happen to anyone. You have to walk around now and actually thank God that it hasn't happened to you yet, if it hasn't. But it might be coming. It could happen to Ava. It could happen to anybody. How does an 18-year-old girl walking with her friends, trying to witness something so beautiful as the Northern Lights, so magical. It's godlike, right? It's a piece of heaven here on earth, end up dead. And how is this okay with anybody? This should not be okay with anybody, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're Republican, this should not be okay. And then for politicians to say she was at the wrong place at the wrong time, or to, have to apologize to her killer for calling him the wrong term. This is ridiculous. The bloodshed of innocent Americans must not be allowed to continue. And I'm going to say it again. It's become crystal clear that as victims, we will have to be the ones that stand up and finally put a stop to this. And we're going to.